You ever finally sit down, like really sit down, and that's the exact moment someone yells your name from the other room?
Oh, yeah, every time. It's like the universe knows. The second I get comfortable, someone needs a snack, the dog's barking, or my phone's ringing.
So whether you're listening in the car, hiding in the bathroom, or actually lucky enough to sit down,
Grab your coffee and let's get into it. Welcome to I Just Sat Down. Hello, friends, and welcome back to I Just Sat Down. Today, we're talking about something that so many parents feel but don't always say out loud: the reality of raising children with or without a village. We've all heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, but what happens when your village is small, unreliable, far away, or doesn't exist at all? Many parents today are carrying the emotional, physical, and mental load of raising children largely on their own. Whether you're a single parent, living far from family, navigating strained relationships, or simply feeling unsupported, this episode is for you. We'll explore what a village actually means, why so many people are missing one, and how we can begin creating support systems that work for our families. I love this. I think that this is something that gets said a lot. Like the phrase itself gets thrown around a lot. Like it takes a village to raise a child. And how I do believe that this absolutely was something that was part of the past.
yeah,
Like, when we literally grew up in villages and there was support right outside your tent
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
deal,
mhm,
but I think that as we've evolved as a society, the village has become a lot harder to come by. And like sometimes it's as simple as, okay, well, we moved here because of our jobs or our spouse's jobs or X, Y, and Z,
yeah,
and our family just didn't come with us,
right,
right? Or something as simple as like, your parents might be a little bit older and they can't handle the kids on their own.
mhm,
Or, you don't have parents at all.
yeah. It can
That's
look
a thing
completely
too,
different, yeah, for so many different people, and yeah, I
right?
feel like yeah, the saying itself, like it takes a village. Yes, you definitely hear it all the time, especially when the kids are younger,
Yeah.
because sometimes you probably are in public looking like, where's this kid or what's this kid doing? Or, like it could just be you look a little lost or you look like you could use a hand. And I guess to me, I've noticed that like I always like kind of lightly joke on here about how like I don't feel like I have close friends. I don't have like that group of people that I would consider like technically my village. My village is, yes, like Corey's family, my family, whatever, but I've had different villages throughout raising my kids because I've had different friendships. And although I'm not very good at keeping friends for very long, I've noticed that like in those groups that I've had, those have technically been my quote unquote village. And then I've also kind of taken on the role, I noticed, because we were just at the park last night and there was a mom there with like, she had little kids and older kids, but there was other people around and I'm that person who's always watching everybody else's kids when I'm out because of my paranoia, which I think is a blessing in disguise because she even recognized after she left. She was like, "Hey, thanks for the extra eyes." And I thought that that was so sweet because like I don't even
Yeah.
notice that I'm doing it. I'm just, "Oh, this one's calling you over here." And she's like, "Oh, thanks." And then I'd be like, "Oh, this one's got that." Like, and I think that also can be a part of your village, quote unquote village. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be, this good group of girlfriends that all have kids around the same age that are all trying to like raise our kids in this group together. Um, I do find that within our villages, though, we find people that we don't mesh so well with, right? There's going to be these relationships that we maybe try to hang on to a little bit when the kids are younger because you're like, well, I don't really have anybody else. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm going to take this person's shitty advice because I feel like I kind of need to lean on them a little bit right now. And then you look back later on and you go, damn it. Like it was
I wish I
nice to
didn't do
have.
that.
Yeah, but I wish
Yeah.
I didn't, yeah, hang on to that just because I felt like I was in like a scarcity of people, basically.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we think like, oh, we need a village because everybody says like
Mhm.
you need a village, right? And, some people are happy to do things just kind of on their own and in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I know I've spoke to this before, but like I absolutely could not have done what I did when I first had my son. Like there was just no, like if I didn't have Dave and my mom to be there, every weekend showing up for me when I had to go to work, like I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I relied on my quote unquote village
Mm-hmm.
um a lot, but I really put in the work before I even, had my son. Like my mom knew my entire schedule for the next 6 months. Like these are the days I'm going to need you. And I think communication is such a big part of that. And
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think maybe that's where sometimes the village kind of gets lost, especially if you are in a place where like your friends aren't at the same stages as you. Like I find I see that quite a bit as like, your friends are already out of that baby stage and they certainly don't remember what it's like to be
Right.
in those trenches. Some people block it out. Some
Yeah.
people are just like, "Oh my God, thank God I'm not in that stage anymore." I'm just like, "No, thank you."
Yeah.
And then, you have this weird thing too when you first have a baby. Everyone wants to come and see the baby. Everyone wants to come and meet the baby. I was so guilty of this before I became a mom. I wanted to come in, I just wanted to sit there with you and hold your baby. And now I'm like, you hold your baby, and then what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can I do these dishes? Can I, bring you food? And getting into that habit of like not really asking those questions and just doing it. I think because no one wants to ask for help, right?
Right.
And I think that's such a crazy thing is like everybody says we need a village, we need this, but people don't want to ask for the things that they actually need. And when that village shows up, if they don't have what you want them to offer, maybe you don't feel like that's your village. Does that make sense? That was
A hundred
really
percent. No, it does
okay.
definitely make sense because it feels like, yeah, if they're just coming and they're like, oh, let me just like, oh, your baby's so cute. Let me come and visit the baby. Let me visit the baby. And then you're like, you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, my boobs hurt because they're full of breast milk. Can I have my baby back to feed my baby? Like,
Yeah.
I'm exhausted and I'm literally going to just sit here watching you holding the baby because I'm not comfortable with people holding my baby yet. Or, there's all these other
Yeah.
anxiety things that trigger. And like I don't think that I had people necessarily come like as friends and say, "Hey, can I help you with something?" My mom
Right.
was the biggest help when I first had my kids because I would be disgusting in my own sweat and milk and unslept, unshowered and all the things and she would come
Go
in.
shower.
Yeah, and she would come in and say, "Go have a shower. I brought you like meals." It's like she
Yeah.
still does that now where she tries to come every week and bring things for the kids to eat because I'm always like, "We're
Yeah.
good. We can make our dinners now." But she's always done that. It's her love language, I think, is cooking for us. And she would be like, "Just like go walk to the mailbox. Like get out of the house, breathe fresh air for a few minutes by yourself." And I feel like
Mhm.
mentally that helped so much in the moment, but I was like, I didn't really realize. I was just like, okay, she's coming over. This is great. I can put the baby on somebody else for a minute while I just like get up and move around, which is great. But no, I don't think that the people that I kind of was hoping to be there weren't really there, but also they also had young children. They were also trying to
Right.
get through their own
Survive.
survival, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't fault those people either, but it's like it's interesting to believe all these things as we become a mother that we're like, okay, we're gonna have all these people around us and we're gonna all hang out and have these play dates and all these things all the time. And then you're like, myself personally, I'm not good at planning events or planning play dates or like wanting to leave my house sometimes. Like there's just I just don't have the energy to do it sometimes. And even like as I get older, I'm still not that person that's going to call and be like, hey, let's go grab dinner. Hey, let's go grab lunch. Somebody has to ask me. And then I have to remind myself a million times after that one invitation to actually schedule it in to go and do the things.
Yeah, I think too, like social media really does kind of create, like, I love, we have in our notes, like, social media creates connection, but not necessarily support. And I think sometimes, like, I mean, even me getting on here and being like, oh my God, my mom was like my biggest help. Like, she was great. I have a supportive spouse. Like, I feel almost guilty in saying that I had that great experience because I know that there are people out there who just don't have that and didn't have that. And I think me like as a mom now, I feel like I try and recognize that a little bit more. Like anyone around me who is in those early stages of like having a baby, it's like don't just look at them and their spouse, like look at like who is actually around them and who actually is going to be there to give that support, right? I was like grateful for the support that I had, but I also just like, yeah, I think I just think about people who, oh my God, just don't have their moms in that space and just how that's such a grief point, but then
Mm-hmm.
also just like there on the flip side of that, it's just like the amount of support that they would have had and how things could look potentially so different for
Mm-hmm.
them raising those littles in that time is like that's a huge thing. So if you have somebody in your life who has lost parents and who is in those early stages, like try and I don't know, try and just be that support for them, you know? Like obviously no one's going to replace a parent, but just realizing that, you know, the mom would have come over and brought food
Yeah.
without being asked. The mother would have come over and said, "Hey, like, you know, I can sit outside the bathroom door while you have a shower with the baby so you can hear if anything's happening." Like
Yeah.
obviously it's different. I handed my my baby over to my mom with no
Yeah.
issues. It was just
Yeah.
like, ah, yeah, that's my mom. Like,
Yeah.
she's obviously going to love this baby the exact same way I am. And you might not trust a friend
Yeah. To
or
be
someone
gentle with
else
them.
in that stage, right? So just kind
Yeah.
of being gentle with those kind of suggestions. But, you know, I think just the easiest thing is to show your support is dropping off food without
Any
a visit.
expectation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Any, not even a visit. Like you just you know, you drop it off and then you text them as you're leaving and you just say, "Hey, I dropped off food, so, you know, maybe hop out and grab it whenever you can." And that's it. There's no
That's huge.
expectation, there's no
Yeah.
nothing. I don't have to see you with my
Mhm.
tit hanging out and a
Yeah. Yeah.
baby on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd have to throw a
I
sweater over my milk stained t-shirt. Yeah.
right. And I think because, like, no matter what, in those early stages, you're gonna feel burnt out. You're gonna feel exhausted. Like, I remember getting 4 hours of sleep and being like, I am a new woman today.
Yeah.
I am a new chick, right?
Crazy. I know. Yeah.
Why is this like that's just nuts? And I am like an 8 hour girly. Like all my
Mhm.
life. We actually talked about this a little bit this weekend. Like just as we're approaching 40, you're already there. Um, this your sleep just changes so much.
Yeah.
And so far I haven't really been affected by it. It still takes me a super long time to fall asleep, but
Mhm.
my sleep has just always been top notch. Touch wood. I hope it doesn't change.
Yeah,
Oh
it's I think
man.
it's just like hot flashes and stuff once all that stuff kicks in that it's more annoying. But
Okay.
I think you just like hit the nail on the head with like maybe it's because your firstborn like oldest daughter, all that stuff that you
Yeah.
just have that thought process, but like the fact that you're like just go drop off food and get the fuck out of there. Like that's
Please.
huge because honestly, like I feel like I'm that person because, like I said, I'm not very good at like I'm not a very good like friend in that aspect where I don't think to do things like that. But like I would never think to message somebody and say, hey, I dropped off food. I'm usually like, hey, I'm here for you if you need anything. Let me know if you need anything. And how much of a weight is that on you when you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask for shit because I
Well,
don't know what I want or what I need.
who has ever texted you back to tell you what they need?
Never, never.
Never.
And then I'm like, is it me? It's me because I'm asking the wrong questions. But
I think though too, like I think this goes for moms, but it also goes for people who are in like stages of grief. Like I
100%.
feel like just those notes of, hey, like I'm here for you, like let me know
Mm-hmm.
if you need anything, like as much as like that's a question that'll probably never be answered,
Mm-hmm.
it's still you showing up and putting that little like, hey, like don't forget, like we're here. That does mean a lot, I think, but I think something that just hits a little bit more is just being like, hey, I left a basket outside of your door. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need to see me. You don't need to come down.
Mm-hmm.
Like here it is, and we'll see you later. I remember
Yeah.
when friends have lost pets. Like we've just been like, hey, here's the basket of your favorite things. Like hope you enjoy and then take off. Like I know people don't want to see me the day after they put their dog
Yeah.
down. Like, no, not a fucking chance. Because I know that I don't want to see you. And it's
Yeah.
not that I don't want to see you. It's
It's what you're
that I
grieving
don't
about. Yeah.
want to show that vulnerability. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want, and it's the same thing when you become a mom. Like, you don't want to show that it's hard and you're struggling, even though
Mm-hmm.
any mom knows it's hard. Know
Yeah.
you're struggling. Know
Yeah.
you're sleep deprived. Know all those things, right? So,
Or just knowing
but
that you're not in that headspace to be social. So you might come off
of
as
course,
bitchy or grumpy or whatever. And you're like, I don't want this person to judge me based off of how my emotions are. I'm struggling right now in
yeah.
this moment.
I know you had like touched on like, oh, I didn't really want to do like the groups and the
Mm-hmm.
things. I didn't want to leave the house. I think though, like if you are, I mean, you had your mom, so that was great. But I
Yeah.
think if you are
Huge.
really in a space of not having a quote unquote village,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find those groups, there's lots of free resources out there. The library does things, the early on centers. Um, I've spoke about this before, but I did baby yoga. And like when I say I did baby yoga, like I showed up in a room and we sat on yoga mats, fed
Yeah.
our babies, bounced our babies, but it was that little village, even if it was only once a week. And like that gave me so much just life in that time, in that crazy time of I think just putting yourself out there and maybe doing that, one thing, even if it's once a month, once a week,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like in your capacity. If you don't have a village, it's definitely something that I highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, even just posting on social media. I noticed some moms do that. They'll post and say, like, in their local community group and say, hey, I'm planning on going for a walk on this day at
Yeah.
this time with my baby to grab a coffee if anybody wants to join me just to like get out of the
Right.
house, and
Yeah.
that's huge. And I'm definitely that person where I retreat and I'm like, oh God, I could never. I want to, so I join the groups and then I'm like, nope,
I
not for
can't.
me. I can't do it. And I think, I mean, I'm comfortable with myself, so I'm okay with the fact that like I don't do the things anymore. I still do try. I still try to put myself out there because I feel like it's calling me for a reason, and then it comes up, and I'm like, can't. Sorry,
Can't,
I'm
no, don't
here.
want to.
I'm here, but yeah, I'm here in the background supporting you, rooting you all on, but I can't do it myself. And
Absolutely. But building your own village is important. And I
yeah,
think now with social media it makes it easier.
mm,
But again, it also kind of makes it harder because you might be someone who's like looking from the sidelines, being like, oh my God, like this chick just has all these girls around with her. She's doing baby play dates and all these things. And I really do remember it was funny. We did a couple of like outings with our like yoga girls, and I remember we went to like berry picking or apple picking, and there was one girl. who came, knew no one in the group, but we had offered it in we had like a WhatsApp group with everybody. And she was new to the group. I don't think any of us had ever met her. She came, and I remember thinking, fuck, I am proud of this girl. She's got this teeny tiny little baby. She knows none of these chicks who have been going to classes. I knew everybody else's baby's name. Like, that's how
Wow.
much we had gotten together. And still friends with those girls now, which is amazing. But like she just came, she showed up, she came, she did the things, and then she left. And I remember turning to my friend Sarah and I was like, I am so proud of her. Like
Mm-hmm.
she literally came, knew none of us, and just showed up with her and her baby. And I'm not really sure. I obviously I didn't make friends with her, so I don't even remember who she is, but I remember that day thinking she's gonna be fine. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, it's just sometimes it just takes, you just gotta get out of your comfort zone, right? And and
Mm-hmm.
and do the things and really build your own village. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I definitely like I can see from the side of like not in my motherhood journey, but like as a reclaiming my identity side of it whenever I was
Mhm.
watching like dance. I was watching them dance for I don't know, probably a year or more. These girls, they looked so badass. And then finally walking into a class, it was like, okay, I can be badass too. Like it was
Yeah.
like one of those things
Yeah.
where you watch it for so long and you're like, it's calling you for a reason. There's a reason why you're like attracted to what's happening in this thing that you're looking at from the outside
Yeah.
too, right? So like yes, being very proud of that person for taking that risk, I guess, necessarily like
Mhm. Yeah.
that nervous feeling. And that's where we grow is outside of our comfort zone. And I always tell the
Mhm.
kids this. And I feel like maybe because I'm getting older, I'm like, my comfort zone is exactly where I need to be now because I've done enough. Not necessarily,
Well,
but
and I think
good
too,
point.
like that was such a good point is that like in those stages of motherhood, like you stepping out and maybe doing something for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and having that village is
Yeah.
just as important as having a village. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like you and your
One
baby
person.
going somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like maybe you go to a class every
Mm-hmm.
week and that's your village.
Mm-hmm.
Some of
Yeah.
them might be moms, some of them might not be, but
Yeah.
there's a good chance that you're going to find some common ground with
Yeah.
some of those women, right? And I think that's what people kind of forget is that like I think we focus so much on like oh well I don't have a certain family member or oh this friend has kind of moved on they don't have kids so we don't really relate anymore or even some of my friends have older kids and we don't they don't know what to do
Right.
with my little kid, right? I
Yeah.
think sometimes we focus so much on like our village being the people that already exist in our lives
Mm-hmm.
and not realizing that like if you're not feeling that village and not feeling that support from the people who are already here, I guarantee there's people out there who want to be your village, who want to support you, whether you're looking online for them or you're going out into the community and doing things. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think everyone can have a village. I think that sometimes we get into this like thought process of like, "Ugh, these people just aren't showing up for me the way I
100%.
thought they would. I
Yeah.
thought they would do more. I thought they would be here for me,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just not." You
Yeah.
know? So I think that that's kind of like an important takeaway is that like your village is out there,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we just have to work a little harder to find them.
Yeah, yeah, that is very important. So
And
like yeah, lean into the things that that you're passionate about or that you're feeling like brings you even just like a spark of joy. Lean into those things because yes, there could
yeah,
be people there with the common interests that are meant to be in your lives and you just don't know it until you go
yeah,
try and that is absolutely
yeah.
for sure. It is very hard because like as a Libra, I'm very emotional when it comes to like that feeling of I'm doing so much for others. Why am I not receiving that same love and respect and whatever else back? But yes, as I get older, I've stopped leaning into that feeling and started to just go, I'm doing it because I want to do it. And then that's it. Like I'm
Right.
I'm messaging this person because I would like to hang out. And if I don't reciprocate that, then that's okay. But I tried. And then you kind of
Yeah,
just leave it alone and you make peace with the fact that, like, maybe that person has decided that you're not for them and that's okay. It's better
right.
than wasting that time and energy and whatever else, too. Right.
I agree. I think too, like the Aries in me has just come out so much stronger in
I love
motherhood.
that though.
Like,
Yep.
if you're just not gonna be the one, then like, cool. I run a full-time business, multiple businesses, and I'm raising a tiny human. Like, I just don't,
Yeah.
I simply do not have time
Mhm.
to care or waste my energy there. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, maybe that made my village just a little bit smaller,
Mm.
in becoming a mom. But at that same point, like it's you really do realize who is going to be there for you and who wants to be a part of your life and your journey
Yeah.
after motherhood, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes that's a really hard thing for some people to swallow.
Mhm.
The Aries in me just lets me move on pretty quick. So,
Mhm. I think one of the
um,
hardest things that I've found with letting people go is the relationship with their kids, because you get close to, like, when you're helping raise these
yeah,
children, that's my hardest thing I find, is that, like, you meet these kids when they're babies or they're toddlers or whatever, and you know that when they become like 10 years old, they're not going to know who you are because you've let that relationship go. Or,
yeah,
you fall in love with these people around that person and you had to let them all go because that's no longer your person. I feel
I
like that's
know.
my biggest struggle. It's like a relationship, right? Any
Yeah.
relationship.
No, I feel that too. I mean, like when Kayla moved away, it was like, okay, like your kids barely know who I am now because, life and we only see them a little bit
Yeah.
and yeah, that's tough
It's
for
hard.
sure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was Auntie Crystal and now it's just, oh, I'm sorry, who's that?
Oh,
It's like, oh, hurts my soul. But like I get it. I
yeah.
don't call them to talk to them. I call
Right.
her to talk to her, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I understand it. I get it. I know they know who I am, but it's just one of those things where like that distance between us just didn't really work in those like formative years. Now they come and like hang out with their Gigi and stuff. So like I do get to see them sometimes when Kayla's not even here, but yeah, it's like it's one of those things where, when we went out to Florida for the first time, it was like they hadn't seen me in so long because of COVID and everything like that. And I was just like, oh, it's hard. That
Yeah.
sucks that they just don't really know. Like, especially with little kids, if you're not in their face and a part of their life every day, guess
Mhm.
what? You don't exist because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I think, and now I notice that with my own kid because like we'll go places and he's like, "Where are we going? Who's this?" And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"How do you not know?" But really, of
Mm-hmm.
course you don't remember. Like that was a week ago was a month ago, was a year
Yeah.
ago. You know what I mean? In their heads, they just don't.
Yeah.
Anyways. Anyways, let's do some rapid fire here.
Alrighty.
Think so. Okay. What's one thing every parent needs more of?
Aside from coffee, um,
Can never have enough of that.
I think we actually touched on this in the last one as well, was just like more understanding and,
Hmm.
just like knowing that we're all doing the best that we can every day.
Yeah, I love that. Who was a part of your village growing up?
My brother, like, my brother was probably like my middle child brother, was the one that I was the closest to growing up. He was somebody that even in my teenage years was somebody who I leaned
Right.
into a lot, and
Yeah.
I will still kind of reach out to if I'm really needing it. Like, Corey's my person, but then he's there kind of if I need to lean into family stuff.
Yeah.
How about
I
yourself?
think for me, it was definitely my cousins. Like, I
Mm.
grew up with like such close cousins on both sides, and just, we hung out outside of that. A couple of my cousins, we went to school together. Like, we were always very close. And I really want that for the little man. And yeah, I hope that he gets to grow up with his cousins. And obviously, there's not as many of us because we didn't procreate like my parents and
Like our
stuff.
parents did.
But
Yeah.
have you ever felt alone in parenting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I
I
solo
mean,
parent 90% of the time, I feel like, because Corey works a lot. And then
yeah,
like I don't have those people around me right now that I'm always like, hey, let's go meet the kids at the park, blah blah blah. Like we
yeah.
don't have that. And that's but I think I
But your kids
thrive in
also
this
have their
environment.
own friends now too, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
so
And I guess the village becomes my kids' friends' parents also. Yes.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Your village definitely will change. I think
Mhm.
everyone's felt alone at some point in parenting. I feel like that's really a relevant question. Is family automatically part of the village?
No. Nope.
Boom.
Nope.
No, no, I think people think that that's going to happen sometimes,
Yeah.
and maybe it's a disappointment. But no, I think you have to earn your keep around here.
Yeah.
No, no, I think that obviously there are people who are automatically, yeah, going to be a part of the village, but do you
Yeah.
stick around in the village? If you
Right.
don't show up, probably not. Can online friendships be a part of your village?
I mean, mentally, yes, because they help you kind of like digress and vent,
Yeah.
especially when they're like not a part of your everyday life. Those are some of the best people in my life because
Yeah.
they don't know my day to day. I can talk shit about whoever I want to, and it's what they'll ever know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just let it
I
all
mean,
out.
I learned literally how to breastfeed on Instagram. So I feel like, yeah,
Mhm.
online community can definitely be your village.
Yeah.
And they can be just helpful with like questions and just like things that are going on, right?
Yeah.
Um, what's one thing you wish people understood about parenting?
Just that we all do it differently. Just like respect each other's parenting.
I
It's
love
hard.
that so much. Yeah, I would say that that's definitely the thing. What's one thing parents should stop feeling guilty about?
Doing things your own way.
I was just gonna say, I was like, is she gonna do it or am I gonna say it? Yeah, no, I think that's like 100% something that we need to feel less guilty about. And I know I've said this a bunch of times on the podcast, but being 35, 36, however old I was when I had him, like I
Yeah.
feel like that just helped so much in that because I literally could just like I had that, womanhood behind me to be like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Or that's cool that you did that, but I'm not.
Not for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like I definitely like leaned more into my intuition
Yeah.
than leaning on other people's opinions, which I found really helpful.
Mhm.
Um, okay, finish the sentence. Every parent deserves.
A little bit of peace.
Love that. Oh, a lot of peace.
Yeah.
I think I think every parent deserves to feel supported, whether
Yeah.
that's through your friends or through family members or your spouse or whatever. But I think, and speaking to that last thing is like, when you make different decisions, when you choose a different path, people need to respect that. People need
Yeah.
to support that because every parent deserves to parent their child in a way that's right for them and not necessarily what everyone else thinks they should be doing.
Yeah. It's okay to
So
look
if
at them and be
you're
like, that's not for me, but
right, exactly. I
you do
think
you.
I think like that was like early conflict, I think, in
Mhm.
having the little guy is that like there were some things that we did and I remember my mom being like, "Well, like why?" And it was like because this is our choice. I don't need to give you a
Yeah.
reason. This is what we're
Yeah.
doing.
And we're all
So, it
raised
is what it is.
differently, so we're gonna parent differently. And then we just
Right.
as in a couple, you just have to like kind of respect each other's
Of
worries
course.
and nervousness and whatever else. But
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
okay, so if today's conversation resonated with you, I want you to know that you're not the only one carrying the weight of parenting without the support you'd hoped for. Whether your village is large, small, or something you are still building, Remember that connection doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Sometimes the strongest villages are created intentionally, one relationship at a time. Thank you for spending this time with us today. If this episode spoke to you, share it with another parent who might need the reminder that they don't have to do this alone. Until next time, take care of your babies, be gentle with yourself, and remember, you belong here. Thank you for being here with us. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that went by fast. Kind of like every quiet moment we try to have in real life.
Right? I swear I just sat down, and now it's already time to get back up again.
Story of our lives. But before we head back into the chaos, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We hope this episode made you laugh, think, or at least reminded you that you're not the only one trying to hold it all together.
Because none of us really have it figured out. We're all just doing our best, one cup of coffee and one deep breath at a time.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit that follow or subscribe button so you never miss when we finally get to sit down again.
And share it with a friend who could use a little reminder that it's okay to take a break, because she deserves it too.
You can find us over on Instagram and TikTok at ijustsatdown.podcast. We love hearing from you, your stories, your wins, and even your "you won't believe what happened to me today" moments.